52 Traders, episode 102.
So why do 90% of the people fail? And I don't mean to be this blunt. It's because they don't work hard enough.
Join Cam every week on the 52 Traders podcast or at 52traders.com to learn how to trade like the pros. This podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes only and is not investment, trading, or financial advice of any kind.
What's up, traders? Welcome to another installment of the 52 Traders podcast. I'm your host, Cam Hawkins, and today I've got Scott Hale on the show. Now, if you haven't heard of Scott, it's probably because he doesn't really go off and market himself that much, and he's decided to come on the show and share a bit today for you guys, and by heck do we get a good interview out of him. I'll tell you what, he does share an awful lot on the show. He's a stock trader, and he sort of dabbled in everything, but focuses mainly on stocks, options, and the metals as well. So, guys, and he knows quite a bit about the indices as well. So, you know, the NASDAQ and the S&P. This guy is a wealth of knowledge, as I've mentioned, and we've got that interview coming up, and you're going to hear a sneak peek in this part of the show here for those guys who are not pro members. But if you do want to listen to the full thing and become a pro member, all you need to do is jump onto 52traders.com/pro, and that'll take you there to sign up, or you can just click the link in the show notes or show description, which will give you direct access to that as well. So if you're on your phone and walking around, you can grab that, no problems. Now, a couple of other things before we dive in. If you do want to get a feel for what this podcast is all about, the first 52 episodes of 52 Traders are completely free, so jump on the site there and sync those into your iPhone or Android phone or whatever phone you have. Chuck it into the podcast app on the phone, and you can listen on the go whilst you're doing other things. And last but not least, for the month of October, we're almost in October, I can't believe where the year has gone, but for the month of October, you can get my Automate My Trading course, where I teach you how to build trading robots for the MetaTrader platform. You can actually get that along with 1 hour of my time, so 1 hour sitting with me, helping you build them, helping you do whatever. I can build them for you if you want in an hour. So you're going to get 1 hour of my time for anyone that joins up to the Automate My Trading course community there at automatemytrading.com. Right, let's get on with the show and hear from Scott Hale. And it's actually hurricane season over there when we start the show. So we are talking about hurricanes. And if you're listening to this in the future, you're probably wondering, where's this hurricane? But anyway, let's get on with it. Okay, guys, welcome to the show, Scott. So we've got Scott Hale here from Atlanta, Georgia. So how are things over there in Atlanta? Have you been hit by the hurricane? I forgot to ask you that before the show. Is that
yes, a little bit, but it's gone. But apparently the next one coming in looks like it could come straight up through Florida into Georgia, and we're very far away from the coast here. But it can be brutal here sometimes with the hurricanes if they stick together. So.
Yeah, I saw the other one. I was looking at it on the wind map of the world yesterday.
Right. Yes.
And it had 130 mile an hour winds. Was it mile?
I think it's. I think it's miles over here.
Yeah.
But I think no, it's over 150 now. It's like the most powerful hurricane ever in the Atlantic Basin.
That's
what I just.
It's a bit scary, isn't it? Because it seems to be happening more and more often. Like every year, there's these just weather atrocities that keep coming. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Where I'm living at the moment, there seems to be slips everywhere. So like all these, like for years and years, there was never a slip, right? A slip being a slip of mudslide into a road.
Oh, okay.
And now, like in the city, in the last 2 weeks, there's been 24 of them.
Really?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Wow.
Like, the main artery into the city got shut off. Another one got shut off a month or so ago. Just all these little things start to add up, and you start to wonder what on earth is going on with the world, you know?
Maybe God is mad at us finally.
Yeah, exactly. Right, so
took him a while.
So let's get into the trading part of the show. So we had a bit of a chat beforehand, but do you want to tell the listeners, I suppose, how did you first get into this game and your trading story to date?
How I first got into it is, sort of fell into it like a lot of guys that I traded with. I'll get into that in a second. But I played sports growing up, and I also was involved in music. And those were sort of my two main things growing up. But my dad forced me to do the academic part. I did not like school at all, except for the girls. And I just continued on with that. And one of my buddies, that he was actually a former teammate of mine, he went to the Chicago Board of Trade to trade treasury bonds in the treasury bond pit. And he invited me down one day after I had graduated from college. He invited me down to go visit him, and I just fell in love with the place. The action, just like just a competitive environment, and I just love that whole idea of the competitive environment. And you know what? It looked really easy at first. He was making a ton of money then, but it looked really easy at first, and I thought, oh wow, this is going to be great. I want to do this. So maybe 3 or 4 months down the road, I started trading as on the floor as a floor trader. I started at the Midwest Stock Exchange. I traded there for a couple of years, and then I went over to the Chicago Board Options Exchange.
And so how long ago was that? So what age were you at that stage?
That was in my 20s, and I did that for about 10 years to my early 30s is when I went to off the floor trading. It was just enough. It was enough. It was a brutal life, actually, and it was just time to get out of there. My half-life had disappeared, and it's most guys who trade on the floor. Most, not all, most. In fact, 2 of my mentors were long-term traders, but just a few years. Some guys even a few months. It was actually a little depressing when I started trading because so many guys that I knew that I sort of started trading with about the same time, they would disappear. Like guys would just disappear one after another. It's like, oh my God, what's happening to all these people? And I thought they were really talented guys, and they disappeared. They blew out their accounts and they disappeared. So
it's interesting. I mean, have you seen that video on that movie on Netflix where it sort of walks through, I suppose, the life and times of a few of the floor traders?
No, I have not seen that. Actually,
I can't remember for the life of me what it's called, but it basically, I mean, it's more of a documentary, if anything. It follows guys who are trading coffee in the CBT
in New York.
Yeah, I think it was, maybe it's New York or Chicago. I can't remember, but yeah, I'm pretty sure they're trading coffee, and it's just a roller coaster ride of emotions when you look at what they're going through. One minute the guy's he's made 50,000 that day, and then the next day he's like lost everything, and sort of at the end of the month it evens out, and he might come away with a normal salary. Or even a salary
or worse.
Yeah,
or
exactly,
worse.
Of a call center operator or something like that. So
it was a good education in not being able to have a salary you can depend on, because you cannot depend on trading. You either make it or you don't, and usually when you make it, you're going to make enough money to have a very nice lifestyle, but it's a rough go. I know for a fact that, at least in my area of what I saw and viewed myself, at least 90% of the guys disappeared. And I did too, by the way. I blew out my account myself. So I had to get the funds together to give it one more go. And so anybody who doesn't make it in this business at first, please, please, please do not view that as the end of everything. It is not. Markets are it's a huge, long learning process. And there's like a battle going on, a race. Are you going to learn enough to be able to stay as a trader? In other words, survive. Are you going to be able to learn enough before your funds run out? It's like a race. What's going to win? What's going to win the race? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Your funds are going to run out, and you won't have learned enough. Therefore, you will not be able to trade anymore. Or the other side is, you're just trying to get to that point where you can learn enough where your funds can stabilize, because that's generally what happens. You sort of stabilize, and then you start making some money, and then then it oftentimes will sort of start rolling in a bit. So and for certain people it just rolls in a bit, but
Okay, folks, hope you enjoyed that sneak peek of the show. Now, as I said, this show's packed full of value. A guy with a lot of wealth and knowledge in the markets. He literally lives and breathes this stuff and has shared an awful lot with me today on the show. So if you do want to hear the full thing, then you need to become a Pro member. You can plug the Pro membership feed. You get your own personal feed that you can plug into your phone and listen to it like a normal podcast, and you just basically end up listening to the Pro feed as you do with this feed if you're only on the preview feed. Okay, so if you sign up, you get all the episodes, every single last one of them, and I've got 80 odd interviews with traders that you get as part of the Pro feed, or you can get everything and sign up with the Pro feed and get the series Trading Mentors Match Off, and you basically got all the content there on the site at your fingertips. You get the show notes, you get the videos that come with some of the show notes, you get the strategies that come with some of the shows, you get everything. But if you do want to find out what it's all about, then you can jump back in time to episode 1 to 52 and get the first 52 free. Plug them into your phone and listen to how it goes and see if you like it. Okay, guys, so last thing before we go, remember that there is that October offer on my Automate My Trading course community. You can sit down with me for an hour if you join up in the month of October. And hey, look, if you join up now in September, it's only a couple of days to go, then you can also get that hour with me as well. Okay, guys, until next time, and next time's going to be a really good interview as well. In actual fact, next time's interview is just as good as this one. Until next time, have a great trading week.